it's nice having those choices.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and move back, since we're talking about this, I want to skip down to number 9. Do we have an idea about if we can use one of those dates suggested and have a retreat here? The 2 last Saturdays in January?
I think I'm 30, I know what that means.
Yeah. I don't want us to artificially limit it to noon if we get on a roll or something, but I know that there's only so much energy that we want to put into it, but is the 23rd satisfactory?
Since we're discussing that items, we've had some limited discussion on the concept of a retreat, a little bit of history. We've had 2 retreats each of the preceding years. The first retreat was the cornerstone, if you will. It was the hardest because it was the board setting its goals and objectives out and then prioritizing. And from that point on, then staff and the board have been working to achieve those goals with quite a bit of success. Our retreat last year was more of a follow-up to that first retreat in terms of looking at what we've met, what our progress has been, and then reprioritizing. The retreat that I would envision for the end of this month would be somewhat different. And what I'm proposing to the board is, and I know it's burning time, but I would propose that you consider using 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The morning session would be to sit down and in one intensive session go over the personnel policy, which we can provide to the board in draft format fairly quickly, just about at that point. The second part of that retreat would be, say, an afternoon session after lunch and a little break to move around, whatever. I would recommend using here as a location for it. Would be to do some long-term planning for the town and consider all of our department staff.
8:30 or 9? 23rd? 8 o'clock?
Sure.
Turn the coffee on.
Bring some orange juice and a can of beanie weenie and get started.
9 o'clock,
8:30.
my motion. I
That
go
means
for
you go
9.
an extra hour.
Well, if we have it at 9, if you want to come get a snack and all first,
We can
Get
have
early
something
enough.
set up earlier.
yeah.
But to formally start, you understand by your motion, is to formally start at 9 o'clock and work through lunch.
Yeah.
And then the second session, we said it started at 1:30, so we work through when everybody gets tired of each other.
So you got a motion for January 23rd, starting at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Okay. Public hearing on the Alton Alligood, the planning board says yes, we need to schedule a public hearing for the next meeting. That's how we do it.
I'd like to motion. Second.
We do it, what, 7:15, or what do we normally do?
7:15?
7:15, first, what day is February is that?
Monday, February 1st.
Okay. I hope everybody's had a chance to look over the most recent draft. We've got some input from folks. We added an administrative committee, and I've tried to spread it out and mix and match. Is everybody close enough on these appointments where they can live with them?
Mr. Mayor, my only problem is to see what they've been making Tony does if I work, so to see if I could get off or switch days.
I can change in midstream on that
Okay,
one.
okay. Because I know Vernon's been doing it.
That's the second Tuesday every other month.
So I
That's
can
everything.
just want to see it.
Okay.
Okay, I can connect that, I bet. You got paperwork, I can get some.
Okay, so
All right. Budget amendments, Jan, what you got?
This one I put in front of everybody, it's for $5,000 for our newsletter, which is new this year, we didn't really know how much the budget. But I feel like everybody's been enjoying that.
When's the next one coming out?
It's almost ready to go to print.
So
Great.
it's costing us a little over 1,000 a time, so I've been heading up to 5,000.
Motion to approve that amendment.
So moved.
second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Consideration of bid for surplus property on Sloan Street. We ain't taking 5,000 on.
You might want to touch on the statutory restrictions on that.
Well, I mean, as I'm sure you all are familiar with, any real property sale from by the town has to go through a public bid process whereby you start with an offer like this and propose to accept it. You don't really accept it. You propose to accept it, but we would go about then taking the deposits that are necessary and the advertising that's necessary to subject it to an upset bid. 10 days after that notice, it's either upset or it's not. And at that point, you still are not bound to accept whatever that price is. You would still have the latitude to then say, well, this is still not enough money, and we decline to take it. So that's it in a nutshell.
Isn't there something in the law or code or something says you cannot set for, what it's assessed at?
I have to check into that.
It's probably more of a guideline than it is a hard rule on that, because there's no real assurance that the assessed value is accurate. Each individual parcel could have details about it, features that would.
I think it's more cautionary to the
Yeah.
board as a practice for the board to award something for a price less than the appraised value. There should be a reason established to support the board's logic. And that way the board then is protected from somebody coming back and trying to say, oh, that's favoritism, you want to select a job from somebody. Because it is in fact public property. You have an obligation to the town taxpayer to get the best value for it.
So I sense that the board's not going to be willing to accept the offer that's been made. Formally, what's their step?
Well, their options are basically to reject it. You don't need to state a reason why, you just you reject it, and then the individual can resubmit a different bid. The other option would be to accept it, and if you did so, then you would start the bid upset bid advertisement process.
Motion we reject.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. All righty, even though Sam keeps leaving it off the agenda. Mayor's prerogative. Stacy, what you got? Barbara?